In this video, we're going to be going over saving and loading inside of Modo. So this is a little bit different once you get into the Steam version of Modo. If you're on the trial, everything kind of works fine, but as soon as you get into the Steam version, stuff's a little bit different. So I'd actually rather have you guys just start saving in this different way to account for Steam, so you're kind of just used to doing it that way as soon as you start. So normally you have your file. Let's say that I made this awesome cube, spent 100 hours on it, and it's good to go. What I'm going to do, if I want to save it out so I can work on it, so this is, when I say I kind of mean you. So if you're saving out a file for only you to work on, you're not turning it into me, just do File, Save As, keep it as a Modo scene. It'll be a .lxf if I'm not mistaken, because again, the Steam version, it's not going to be a .lxo. They changed the file extension a little bit, but it's still called a Modo scene. And you can just name it whatever you want. So call it box. Hit save. And now that file is a .lxo file or a .lxf file that you can just double click on and it'll open. But when you get into the Steam version of Modo and you start using that, I won't be able to open your .lxf files. So those just don't even bother turning them into me because I can never open them. They're locked to your computer. So if you need to save a 3D file for me, what you're going to do is File, Save As, hit this little drop down. You're not going to have this many options, but the one that you're going to want to pick is the one that's Autodesk FBX or just .fbx. It doesn't matter what year it is. So if it gives you the option of multiple years, just pick the newest year. Make sure that it's FBX. Click on that. Oops, actually click on it. Sorry about that. So box.fbx, hit save. Says that some stuff might be lost. Don't worry about this. The only stuff that we do in all my 3D classes, and FBX can hold all the information, so it's not a big deal. Hit save. Now your file saves as a FBX. So when you bring up your File Explorer or your Finder window, depending on if you're a Mac or a Windows user, you're going to get your .lxo or your .fbx. Either of these, you should be able to just take them, drag and drop them right into Modo, and that should open up the file. Grab this guy, drag and drop. It's already open. You can see it over there. The other thing, most likely, you should be able to just double click on it, and it should open, and you should have no problems at all. So again, FBX, if you're going to deliver the file to me, a .lxf or a .lxo if you're going to continue working on it. Again, that's not to say that you can't open an FBX. There's a few things that FBXs do that are a little bit annoying. So just get in the habit of your working files being a native Modo file, and then the files you give to somebody else, you export out in FBX, and they'll be able to work on it. So one other thing that should be kind of helpful is Modo has a auto backup or an auto save. So if your scene crashes, you should be able to get the majority of your work back. So if we go to System Preferences, or if you're on a Mac machine, you'll go to a little window that says Modo over here, and then go to Preferences. Either one will bring up the same window. You get this big, huge thing, and we'll go through some of this stuff. But right now, we're just focusing on the autosave function. So under Defaults is Autosave. Click on that. And now it should be enabled by default. The time interval is a little bit higher. I think it's 15 minutes. So I personally hate having to redo work. It's just not something I enjoy. So I knocked my time interval. So every 3 minutes, a new file autosaves. And then it saves to this location. So I can pick this and I can browse and put that location wherever I want it. You can throw it on your desktop, throw it in a folder called Modo Backup. I just have it on my spare D drive in a folder called Modo Backup, and all my backup files go there. So how this is going to work is you have to initially save your file. So that just get in the habit of open up a file. I'm going to make a duck, name the file myduck01 or something like that. And then what you're going to do is just start working like normal. So once you have that first save, then Modo is going to start auto-saving. And it's just going to save it in this time interval, and then this is the number of times it's going to save it before it starts re-overwriting itself. So going back to our duck example, I'm going to have a duck01. After 3 minutes, it's going to save out a duck02 in this location, not the location that I saved the file. And then 3 minutes later, so total 6 minutes later, it's going to save duck03, duck04, duck05, all the way to duck09. And then instead of making a duck010, it's going to go back and resave over the Duck01 in a sense. So if you go to this folder, if your file crashes, go to this folder and you'll see a bunch in there. Just organize them and just find the one that was saved most recently, and it'll get you all your work back. So I personally recommend making this time interval 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere in there. Because again, if it defaults to 15 minutes, going back and redoing 15 minutes worth of work isn't a lot of fun. Number of revisions, if you want this to be higher, you can. I don't really keep it that high. But the other thing, just be mindful of this location. So the other thing would be I saved my file, but I was lazy and I never went in and changed any of these settings. So you're kind of still saved, but it's just every 15 minutes. So what you're going to do, and again, you can refer back to this video, would be try to open Modo. It's going to say, hey, we detected a crash. Would you like us to open the most recent autosave? You hit yes, and you should probably be fine. You might not even have to go in the folder. But if you were lazy and you didn't change any of these settings, and it didn't prompt you to say like your computer shut down or something like that, like your battery died, it's not going to prompt you, hey, we detected a crash, do you want to reopen? So you have to manually do it. So if you're not sure where your autosave location is by default, you just go to System Preferences or Modo Preferences over here on a Mac, go to this autosave, and this right here is going to be that location. So I can hit Browse. This is the location, so I can just even right-click, open in a new window, and now I have access to all my autosaves right there. So again, autosave is an amazing feature. Take advantage of it.